Let's break down the brand new Wade Wilson Deadpool comic book run, starting with issue 1. This isn't just another goofy Deadpool relaunch. This issue hides a dark mystery, a haunting guilt, and a letter that seems to predict the future. And it all builds to a choice that could finally turn Deadpool into an actual hero, or completely break him. So we start off this issue in Wisconsin, where we see a large truck arrive at a farm. A whole bunch of goons carrying heavy weapons open up the gate and allow the truck to pull in, with someone observing from the distance saying, "About damn time." It's clear this truck is late because the goons are super quick to open up the back of the lorry and allow the cows to walk out, mooing loudly as they step onto the farm. One of the goons says, "We've bribed a border patrol agent. At midnight exactly, we'll move them into Canada." But then they notice one of the cows is pregnant. They can't use pregnant cows, and this takes them by surprise, because as one of the goons says, it ain't even calving season. He takes a look at the cow, more specifically, the cow's behind, and the unexpected happens. He's shot straight through the head. One of the goons says, "Boys, I don't know what's going on, but we got trouble." And then Deadpool, the merc with a mouth, emerges from inside the cow and says, "You know, I've gone undercover before, but this is my first time being part of a stakeout." A nice, hilarious cow joke from Deadpool. As he exits the cow, he opens fire on the goons, taking them out in no time. As he stands up, he says he might have to go vegan after this. He keeps firing, and the goons don't stand a chance, until Deadpool is shot directly through the eye and drops to the ground instantly. But we know that's not going to keep Deadpool down for long, because as soon as he stands back up, he says, "One of those hayseeds just shot me in the brain. Don't worry about me, I had it coming." It's a good thing Deadpool has got his full strength healing factor back. He looks around and says ammonia is a key ingredient in meth, but he's here to cook something else up. He opens fire on a tank of ammonia, which explodes in dramatic fashion, killing even more of the goons. Deadpool then kicks open the doors of a nearby barn, revealing some kind of drug lab. Continuing his dairy-related jokes, he says, "Hello, cheese to meet you." He looks around and continues, "Now wait a second. I didn't know heroin-flavored yogurt was a thing." But the people inside the barn don't hold back, and once again, Deadpool is blasted by a barrage of bullets. As this happens, he says, "If you'll allow me one more dairy farm joke, what's my favorite cheese?" Deadpool shouts, "Swiss," as he then throws a pitchfork, absolutely obliterating one of the people inside the barn, and follows that up by blowing up the entire building with a handful of grenades. As he leaves the flaming barn, he asks, "Is that all you've got, Heartlanders?" But then he sees a plane coming towards him. As he sprints away, he makes a disturbing statement, saying he wants them to hurt him, make him suffer, run him over with a combine, and drown him in silage. The plane starts releasing what is assumingly some kind of toxic pesticide over the farm, and it swarms Deadpool. He can do nothing but cough, and he even says, "Oh, that's more like it," as if he's actually enjoying it. That definitely tastes like cancer, and of all people to know what that tastes like, it would be Deadpool. Still with a bullet hole in his face, he walks through the crops, picks one, sniffs it, and says, "Definitely smells like opium poppies." He turns around and sees the plane coming straight at him and says, "That's right, come to Poppy." He opens fire on the plane, and as it's about to crash, he positions himself perfectly to get hit dead on and says, "Destroy me, make me forget." Later, we see Deadpool devouring a plate of pancakes, and it's clear he's been explaining the story to someone else the whole time. While munching away, he says the rotors chopped him up and the explosion cooked him into crispy nuggets. The poppy field burned all day and into the night, and he knows, because that's how long it took him to heal. At one point, a pig came over and started gnawing away at him. He finishes by saying that concludes his fun story about how he fulfilled his contract against the Heartlanders. Then we see that Deadpool is actually talking to crime boss Hammerhead. He explains he did all of this so Hammerhead could take over their territory and expand his own operation. Hammerhead just looks at him and says, "What is wrong with you?" Deadpool's hilarious response is, "What's wrong with me? Why would you say something's wrong with me? We see that they're currently in Bushwick, New York, and the two of them are sitting in Pancake Palace. When the waitress asks Deadpool if he wants more coffee, he grabs the entire coffee pot and smashes it into his own face, leaving shards of glass cutting into his skin. Hammerhead quickly leaves, throwing down a briefcase full of cash for the job and telling Deadpool that he should buy himself a shrink because he needs serious help. Deadpool chases after him, saying, "Wait, don't you have another job for me?" The more dangerous, the better. Hammerhead is already inside his limo preparing to leave, and he asks Deadpool, "You've got this healing factor. So what? Pain's just a joke to you? Doesn't it hurt?" Deadpool replies, "Oh, it hurts. It hurts awful bad. That's the point." One of Hammerhead's goons then shoots Deadpool square in the face, leaving him slumped on the ground, and they take the briefcase back. Deadpool is left lying in a pool of blood. Then we get more insight into what's going on in Deadpool's mind. We see a montage of him being put through increasingly painful situations. He says, "What's wrong with you?" is a question I've been asked my whole life, and I've never really known how to answer it. I guess I don't really belong. I'm nobody's hero. That doesn't necessarily make me a villain, but lately, as I throw myself into any job that will get me shot up, smashed flat, torched, or torn apart, as I wander into speeding traffic again and again, I know exactly how to answer that question. I know exactly what's wrong with me. Later, we see Deadpool back in Blind Owl's basement apartment, where he's currently living. Blind Owl immediately starts yelling at him, holding up a pair of pink underwear and asking him to tell her what he sees. Deadpool says, "Well, Blind Owl, I'd say it's either a parachute or a pair of old lady panties that could serve as a parachute in a pinch." She cuts him off and asks what color they are. He says, "Pretty pink for a pretty lady," which is not what she wants to hear. She throws them at him, and we find out Deadpool's been washing his red suit with her laundry and dyeing everything pink. She keeps yelling at him, saying he can't just sit around watching cartoons and soap operas and leaving cereal everywhere. When he's not moping on the couch, he's out getting himself wrecked, and not in a fun way. Every time he comes home, he's puking up bullets, peeling off scabs, and regrowing organs. She tells him when he came to her a month ago, begging her to take him in, he was lower than low. She felt sorry for him. She tells him, "But the inside pain ain't gonna heal, Wade. Not like the outside pain. Not never. But you've got to find a better way to live with it." Deadpool quickly picks up his suit and throws on his mask, and leaves, joking that he's got a meeting with his romantasy book club. Later, we see him in Manhattan, sitting at the top of a building. We get more insight into his mindset as he says there are plenty of interesting ways he could hurt himself. Even if he jumped, he'd be fine. Eventually, after they scraped him off the sidewalk and stuffed his soupy remains into a body bag, he'd give the morgue attendant a good scare when he popped out of the fridge. He says he's thinking about ending things. He doesn't know if that means his life or the mercenary life, but something's got to give. Coming up here and seeing the big anthill of humanity makes him feel small, and if he stays small long enough, maybe his pain will shrink too. Then we see an image of Deadpool's daughter, Ellie, and if you didn't know, she's basically a mini Deadpool. But here we see something has happened to her. She's been taken somewhere, or she fell through a portal. Clearly there was nothing Deadpool could do to stop it, and now he's drowning in guilt. We see him with his head in his hands saying, "I'm so sorry, kid." And then, at that exact moment, a letter drops out of the sky. On the front of the envelope, it says, "To Wade." He opens it and it says, "A taxi will hit a purple car." He throws it away, then looks down and sees exactly that happen. A taxi hits a purple car. He picks the letter back up. The next line says, "A fat man will dance like nobody's watching." He looks up, and in one of the windows, a fat man is dancing like nobody's watching. The next line says, "A pigeon will," but before we can read the rest, a pigeon drops bird poop on the letter, covering the word. That's when Deadpool realizes the letter is predicting events. Now it has his full attention. The letter reads, "At 3:53 p.m, a terroristic group of clowns will take control of the F train. 271 people will die unless you decide to save them." Deadpool thinks to himself, "So wait, is this what I think it is? My shot at being an honest-to-goodness hero? If so, I can't wait to see how I mess it all up." And that wraps up the issue of Wade Wilson Deadpool. I really enjoyed this first issue. I loved the humor, but I also loved how dark and introspective it got. It's such a brutal, violent, and emotionally heavy way to reintroduce Deadpool in a brand new run, and that mystery letter is a fantastic hook for what's coming next. If you want me to keep covering this run, let me know in the comments. Drop a like if you enjoyed the breakdown, and if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. And if you're still craving more Marvel Comics content, then make sure to check out my Marvel Comics playlists, or check out the rest of my channel where I upload content just like this every single week. But for the meantime, peace, peace, peace!